Hello and welcome to this tip of the week video where we'll be doing a blade service on one of the blades in this set of three off of a Husqvarna 155 articulating mower. The unit, I believe, is a model year 2004. These are indeed mulching blades. They have the wavy, curvy profile where they have bends actually stamped in the cutting edge. Using the Magna-Matic angle and thickness gauge, I've already measured that the blades were 164 thick and they were a little off in their angle. They were kind of between 30 and 35 degrees. We'll be correcting them to 30 degrees today. The equipment we'll be using is first of all the Mag 12008 blade cleaner to clean the blades. Then we'll be using the Mag 8200. We'll be using the water-cooled unit, as you can tell here. We'll have the 1/2 inch wide wheel on. We'll start with the flat work table to do the first 2 inches and get a nice pointed tip on the blades again. Then we'll switch over to the rounded work table to do the curvy or wavy portions. So let's get started. Here now you can see the result of cleaning the blades, and you can see how we absolutely got everything off of these blades. We can now inspect them for fractures. One of the things you'll notice right away here is whoever sharpened these last used an angle grinder or something up on this portion and totally did a different angle than the rest of the cutting edge. So you'll see that on that top portion where that's some damage we're going to have to repair. We're now at the point in the service where we've done the inspection. Now we need to check if the blade is still straight and usable. We'll be using the Mag 1000 blade balancer. I'll be locating the hole onto the cone. Of course, we need to be in the concentric center point. The magnet holds it there. I'll use the gauge rod of the balancer to touch off on the back of the tip or cutting tooth. I'm then going to rotate the blade and compare if there's a gap between the gauge rod and the end of the blade. And with this blade, there is no gap, so the blade is straight. The two tips are tracking in the same plane. Now we'll begin sharpening one of these blades, and we'll be using the Mag 8200. This is a Mag 8200 set up with the modular work table, and currently the 1/2 inch wide grinding wheel is in the machine. We'll be using the flat work table first to do the front portion of the blade that is flat. It'll be easier to stay on a flat table and get this edge nice again. Then we'll switch over to the mulching blade table and clean up the interior cutting edges and do any repair of that. Now we'll switch the work table over by loosening the vise that holds the table in. We'll take the straight table out. And then we'll put in the rounded mulching blade table. And we'll reclamp the vise. We'll want to make sure that we have just a very slight gap between the wheel and the work table. All right, now for the last step of the process, we'll be doing the balancing. And we're going to stay away from the nice pointed tips we make. We'll be grinding just a little bit further on the interior of the flat portion for the balance correction. Here now we have a close-up. All three blades are finished, and you can get a look at how nice this edge is. That concludes the service of these three blades off of a Husqvarna 155 articulating mower that were wavy, curvy mulching blades. We went through the whole service process, and again we used the Mag 12008 blade cleaner, a Mag 1000 balancer. This is the Mag 8200 configured with a modular work table. We were using a 1/2 inch wide grinding wheel, and it is the water-cooled version. If you'd like any other information or have any other questions, feel free to check us out at Magna-Matic.com or give us a call at 800-328-1110, and we can discuss your blade application and how our products can meet your needs to service your rotary lawnmower blades. Thank you very much for watching.